Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. This is going to be I'm actually going to analyze two games here, versus nurses. I usually only do one, but I just thought I could give you guys more value by doing two. So yeah, it's going to be two games. The second one is probably going to be the best one, I think. So I'm going to try to give a few tips here and tricks on how you can better really just last longer on a chase with nurse, because pretty much lasting forever is kind of impossible just because of the mechanics of her. But I mean, especially if you're facing a good one. If it's a bad one, then yeah, you can definitely escape eventually. But if it's a good one, you're gonna go down eventually. So it's really just a matter of how long can you stall her, you know. So this first match here we're playing on Autohaven, and mostly it mostly boils down to line of sight for the most part when it comes down to nurse. And you have to, if you play the nurse, it's even better, right? But it's good when you can understand, because I play nurse myself, so yeah, I understand how to juke her that way. So if you can actually play her yourself, it will definitely help in, you know, kind of learning your possibilities, and you know what to expect from her if you also play her. So right here I'm kind of just trolling a little bit, trying to maybe get her attention, really. Actually, I think I was farming bips, so that's probably why I'm staying close to her in this game, so I can build up my evader emblem as well. Usually I want to get my metal man stacks, so I usually take protection hits for that, as you're gonna see right now. So yeah, it mostly comes down to line of sight, and you need to understand that she kind of plays around prediction a lot. So you can kind of bait her predictions in a, you know, kind of induce her predictions in a way that is gonna favor you in the chase rather than her. So that's another thing you should have in mind when going into chases with a nurse. So I think she's gonna start chasing me soon here. Yes, looks like she found. I'm already injured, which you never know. This is the first thing I need to mention. He's dead hard there. Dead hard, obviously, first tip, I guess. Use dead hard against a nurse, that's gonna help a lot. I don't think it's really fair, honestly, but it does help a lot. So you see right there, that was the first trick. It was a line of sight. You saw how I hid my body behind the tree before I turned, because that way for her it seems like I'm still going in a straight line, you know. But because she can't see me because the tree is in the way, she can't see me turning to the left and changing my direction. So you see how she blinked to the other side of the tree there, because she was expecting me to keep going straight ahead, because she didn't see me doing the turn, because again I blocked her line of sight before I actually performed the turn, before I changed directions, because that way she has no way to react to it, you know. Because if she saw me turning there, she could have easily adjusted her blinking, but because I hid my body behind the tree first, that was essentially a line of sight juke. So she has to guess essentially if I'm going to turn or not at that point, because she can't see me. So for her it becomes a, I can also not turn. I can just leave the loop instead, which would be in that sense running towards this house right there that I'm looking now. So essentially you give her three options instead of only one to hit you. So for her, she has to get becomes a guessing game between those three options. So there's a higher chance that she will miss the blink and you'll be able to keep the chase going. So see right there, I got the protection hits that I mentioned. I just like to, when I use a meta man, I usually just play like this. I just like stepping on the chases of others and taking the hit. It's actually not that bad, because it helps extend their chases, you know. Because usually when they would go down, you actually take the hit instead for them. So it does help with the chase lasting longer for a team in general. But they cannot go down after you take the hit, because otherwise it was kind of worthless, as you see right now. And if you manage to heal before they go down as well, you can just you can go back and help chase last longer again by taking a follow-up protection hit. But yeah, talking about the chases again, so you see right there, that was a really, it's a bit more of an advanced trick you saw right there, me doing in the tree a little earlier. It's really just playing around the line of sights. So you see again here, I just left the loop, as you saw there. That's another way you can juke her blinks, because she's usually expecting she's gonna blink on the loop, you know, trying to, in that case, trying to get me on the side of the truck there. So by leaving the loop, it didn't happen that way, so I can only explain it. So here I'm gonna use my Metal Man to save her. You can also use that as a borrow time type of effect, and unlike Unlike borrow time itself, it doesn't have any requirements, you know. You can use multiple times as well. Right there, it was a good blink. You see what I try to do there? I try to turn to the my left side of the camera from you guys watching. That was so I could juke her blink, because I know if she blinks straight ahead, but I turned too early, so she was able to adjust. As you saw right there, she adjusted to me turning. At that point, the best juke I guess I could have done there is really just ran at her. It's really hard for her when you run at her on the second blink, because it was her second blink right there. Usually they never expect that. It can work against you if she cancels the blink instead of actually releasing the second one. It's actually gonna work against you. You're gonna get hit for that, but you know, it's still a juking option. It's kind of a guessing game, like I mentioned. But usually if it works and she misses the second blink, you get a lot of distance that way by running towards her as she's about to do the second blink. I think especially in the second game, I did that a bit more times than I happened to do in this game here. So right here I'm gonna try to get healed, but it seems like she saw me. Someone got a protection here right there. She didn't commit it to me. So I'm gonna go back because I need to get healed here. I already used my Medal of Man, so well, I already went down too, so yeah, I can definitely charge my Medal of Man again here. Right there with Gonna Live Forever, I can heal her faster. And you see right there, I made her commit to me now. That was a little you don't have to use that hard that early. That was totally like not intentional. You see how I used the window there a little bit as well. You see right now I left she missed the blink there, you can tell. This is what I mean with the difference of being a good nurse or a bad nurse. Like a good nurse would not be missing as much blinks as she's doing. So you see right there, again, that's the leaving the loop example, like I mentioned earlier. You see how she blinked towards the wall because she was expecting me to continue the loop, but because I left, I created distance by leaving the wall, you know. She actually blinked to the wrong spot. And it has to do again with, as well as using the line of sight, because she can't see me on the other side of the wall, so she's guessing that I'm going to be running straight, you know, or that I'm going to backtrack. In that case, I didn't do either. I didn't keep going straight, neither did I backtrack. I actually left the loop, which would be the third option I have there as a juking option. And so either way, right there, if she blinked a little bit more, you know, further back or further forward, she would have missed all the same. In that case, she blinked further forward, and because I left the loop, she was just standing there, you know, for nothing, and I was able to get some distance. So that would be a one trick you can do. But remember, it always works best when she does not have line of sight on you. So that's why I always wait to, you know, get behind an object or something, or I place myself intentionally behind an object before actually attempting the juke, you know, because then you don't give her the chance of the reaction. I think right here I actually tried it that hard, but it didn't came out. Or if I did not try it that hard, I was probably just expecting the I think it was a Fang there to body block for me, but she didn't. I think I was probably expecting her to body block. She didn't do that very well. She thinks I have DS though because I'm obsession, so looks like she's respecting it. It's not gonna pick me up. That was a body blocker, right? So I'm kind of trolling her, as you can see. Like I'm not even, you know, I'm teabagging in front of her, and I'm really trying to. But definitely, obviously, you don't want to do this on her chase because that's not helping. You just want to create as much distance as you can from her as possible, and any chance that she gives you. So always remember that, like, nurse is all about. It's really just about distance and breaking line of sight. Those are your best friends when it comes to chasing against the nurse, being chased by a nurse, right? In this case. So again, you see right there, my Medal of Man is starting to recharge again already. So if I get 2 more hits, I can actually use it again in the same match. I'm gonna actually. I feel like I'm trying more to. Yeah, she found me already. That was a little thirsty of her. She didn't have to commit to that hit, but she did it. You see right there again. I think I got a little stuck on the rock there. Otherwise, I would have been able to create enough distance. But you see, her lunge almost whiffed right there. So you see it again right there how I left the loop. And she blinked. She still blinked on the loop, but I already left the loop because she can't really see me turning. So she assumes that I'm going to keep on that same loop. You see right now. You see, I usually don't try to backtrack, like run at her very much, because that's a very like basic. So against good nurses, it never works. But yeah, but I need to do it more often because I'm often not playing good nurses, you know. But yeah, you see right there, if she blinks properly, there's really nothing you can do. Unless you have dead horror, of course, but in this case I had already used it, so. But if she blinks properly, just understand there's really not much you can do to avoid it. Again, the best trick I could have done there is really just ran at her. Although these last instance that she hit me, the best trick that I could have done that I didn't try to is really just ran at her when she's about to release the second blink. Which again, second match is coming up here. I think I should be able to show that a little better. And I almost got a pip here as well. I just needed a little bit more evader there, or a little more light bringer. And you can see it was I don't know if that was PC or not, but it was definitely it was still a red rank nurse, and you see I was still able to you know, hold her for a pretty good decent amount of time considering it's a nurse. So let's get into the second match here. I think I actually have object this time around, so you see I'm already going towards her because I kind of want to get chased. Ormond is probably going to be a better map than Macmillan was because of these snow piles here. So I'm kind of trying to call her attention. So if I remember correctly, this match had a lot more chases going on between her and me, myself. But I actually think I escaped. I don't remember. We'll see. We'll find out together. So if you don't know, like if you want to farm emblems, especially the evader one, you get a lot of points for staying near the, like the closer you are to the killer, the more points you gain per second on that emblem. So you see, like right now, for example, this is because she didn't pick her up immediately. I could already tell she was about to blink on the gen, so you need to be aware of these kind of things, you know, because you got to remember the nurse has the mobility to do this type of stuff, so you need to be at all times ready. Especially if you're inside her terror radius, you need to be already in a way expecting that she will blink where you are, you know, if you're healing, if you're doing a gen, things of that nature. She can just snowball that way. She downs someone, she slug it, instead of picking her up immediately, she just blinks to the person that's closest to it, and that way she can escalate the pressure, you know, to multiple survivors. Really common thing for a nurse to do, so be aware of that if you're, you know, close to a down or something like that, especially if you're on objective like I mentioned. And healing, because she, you know, a lot of nurses like to use nurses calling, and to avoid that, just really don't heal inside her terror radius. So I see she's coming after me already, which is good. So again, these structures with high walls, they're gonna be your best bet against nurse. You always want to be near structures. Structures are gonna be your best friend, okay? If you're trying to juke her in the open, that's not gonna be a good idea. So right there, the tree was kind of already protecting me from her hit. So maybe I did not necessarily have to use that in her there, but I still used it anyway. So you see, like right here, you see how I left the loop now? That's because I could tell from the distance that her second blink would not reach me, so that's why instead of continue looping the structure, I should left the structures to create more distance, you know, from her blink, her second one. Right there, you see how I turned the fire there on purpose. The reason for that was so I was behind the fireplace there and she couldn't see me, because as she's blinking to the wall, she has no line of sight, right? So as she goes through the wall, she still has to visually like spot you again. So by staying behind the fireplace like that, I'm essentially making sure she won't see me, you know, as soon as she finishes going through the wall, which is gonna make it a lot harder for her to catch me with the second blink. So you see again, right there was a line of sight again. You see how I used the wall, and then I went to the piles there to make her blinking even harder there as well. When you're looping tiles like those kind of circles in the structure, it makes it really hard for her because she has to blink very precise. Right there, she could have actually hit me, but she didn't charge enough on the second blink. Otherwise, she could have definitely covered the distance to hit me there. But notice how I ran towards her on the first blink. But that's not something you usually want to keep doing very often, because if it's a good nurse, she's going to catch up. You see right there again how I turned the rock first, and then I faked, and I left the rock. And she blinked at the rock because she was expecting me to continue looping, because she cannot see me turning, changing the direction because I'm hiding behind line of sight. So you see again, notice how I'm not running towards the opening, but inside the house, because that's way harder for her to catch me here than it will be in the open. You know, right here she has to deal with multiple fours, you know. Even if it's not a big deal, at least it's increasing the difficulty of execution that she needs to have on her blinks to catch to me. So just by, you know, staying on harder areas to blink, precisely on, it's already going to help you in the chases. But I did it twice there. Hopefully you see I did the juke where I ran at her once there on the first blink, and I did the line of sight juke twice there, as you can see from that chase. Right there again, you see how I'm running forward. That's very important. I maximize by running straight in a straight line like that in relation to her. I'm maximizing the distance that I'm creating. That's so her lunge will miss me, you know, because her lunge does not reach as far as other killers due to her slow movement speed. So right there, that range is kind of impossible for you to juke at if she gets that close, because the blink is too fast, you know. You have to essentially do a 360 on her hit or something, but that's kind of random, you know. It's not going to work every time. So for the most part, when it gets that close of a range between you and her, she needs to like essentially fuck up pretty bad for you to actually not get hit, you know. But at that distance is essentially a guaranteed hit for her. There's nothing you can do unless you have dead hard to and even then from that distance with 2 blinks, she can even bait your dead hard. So you're in that distance, you're really putting yourself to on a death scenario. So this is why I said the distance is crucial for lasting long chases with Nurse. You never want to be that close to her, because from that range the blink is pretty much guaranteed a hit on you. So I'm leaving the hook area here. I'm just trying to get heal at this point. But she seems to be coming close every time. And right there, she came to me again. You see right there what I mean? That's perfect. Running her on the second blink specifically. Obviously, you don't want to do that too early, because if she sees you running back at her, she can you know, aim to the floor and cancel her blink in a way. So you want to try to time it as best as possible to where you change direction as soon as she commits to releasing the blink from her hand, you know, or that she has already charged enough, as you saw me doing right there. And once she starts catching up to that, one thing you can do is actually fake running back at her. So remember what I said, you do not want to run too early, because otherwise she's going to react to you running towards her. You can do that on purpose. Like, you can run too early, so she will think you're going to run at her, but then cancel and keep going forward, you know. Don't run the whole way. Just make it seem like you're going to run towards her and then fake it and come back. You see again, looping the structure like this is really hard for her, but she actually got this time. You see how she perfectly blinked on the other side of the structure. Not too far, neither. She was perfectly close, you know. She didn't blink too far from the structure when going through it. But that's really hard for her to get it right, especially from the range that she was on. So that's totally props on her for that. But that is actually pretty hard to do. It requires a very high level of execution. So it's not a guarantee juke, so to speak, but it's definitely your best bet for a situation like that. It will really come down to if she's a good nurse or not. But you know, you definitely want to make it as hard for her as you can. But that was a good example of, she can definitely hit you with those types of jukes when you're doing those types of jukes. But this stuff is definitely gonna make it harder for her if you do that. There's a high chance that she will miss, you know. So I mean, I have objects, so she's probably why she's tunneling me a little bit here. She always has, you know, line of sight on me. So I'm trying to provoke her a little bit. So again, right there, you see right there the juke, line of sight juke again. That works really well. When you're looping shit like this, she can never catch you too. She has to commit to the right there. If I kept running forward, I could have maybe created enough distance to where her lunge would have missed. Right, that was a fake as well. You saw how I kind of ran towards the pallet, but then I changed direction as she released the blink. So she kind of ended up blinking at the pallet instead of me. See right there, running at her when she has already charged the second blink. And you see how massive of distance I got? You completely resetted the chase when that happens, when you run at her. So in a way, it is the best you can do, because it favors the distance when you manage to run at her and she overcharges, you know, a lot like that. But it's always risky, because especially if you're playing against a student of mine that I teach how to play nerds, because I teach them how to avoid that from happening. So because there's actually like a formula to blink at her that the survivors have no juking options whatsoever, never. So you can stop all jukers, but you know, obviously not all nurses have been taught by me, so they're not gonna know that. So that's why you can try doing the backtracking like that to avoid them. And especially on the second blink is really a killer, man, because it's very unexpected. Usually survivors do that on the first blink, you know, not so much the second one. So it's usually very unexpected for those nurses. But obviously you want to. Another point is the prediction. Like you never want it to be very predictable. So variate the types. So you see, one time I do the backtracking on her, another time I'm doing the line of sight juke, but I'm never really repeating the same thing over and over, because otherwise she can kind of catch up to your playstyle, and she's gonna start reading your types of jukes, and you're gonna get hit every time. So that's why you wanna vary. So think about in your head about varying the types of jukes that you're doing all the time. So just one last juke option that I mentioned, you can fake going back at her. So like you wait, you do it too early, so she will see you doing it, but then you fake it, because that's gonna force her to look down, and that's gonna screw up all her blinking. Or you can also do a circle. Doing a circle usually confuses her a lot. Like just a normal circle in place, just like if you were going to do a 360. You just circle around in place. That confuses her a lot in which direction you're going to take next. But guys, that's a few tips on how to last longer in chases with nurse. I hope it was helpful, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.